Okay, welcome back. Welcome. Sorry, this is a little bit weird. I do live stream, but this is not mostly me. Wait, what? Okay, I hope you guys can hear me. It seems like it's still working, so basically I'm gonna do all the 12 chapters at least. Try 14 chapters. If not, if it's too long, I know why. So hopefully you guys listen. Links in the channel, links to the description is in the description.
Kyon2261.
Oh fuck, that's wrong.
Chapter 1, Number 1. Welcome to the first chapter of My Hero Academia, Ultra Achievement, Season 0. Almost all of the season is set before the start of the manga/anime, although a bit of toward the end will include bits and pieces of the first few chapters/episodes.
Yeah, we're mostly gonna skip a lot of that. There.
Thursday, July 15, 2247. Hisashi Midoriya leaned forward, touching his toes as his back popped. He stood back up, sighing at his slight beer belly. A graduate of UA's support course with an emphasis in quirk analysis, he never expected his life to turn out like this, recently 30 with a dad bod and a son turning 3 today. In his youth, like most boys, he dreamed of becoming a hero. His quirk, the ability to breath a green flame, stood out among his peers in grade school and middle school. Although he made it into the hero course, he'd come to find that constant conflict just wasn't for him. Things changed even more the day he met Inko Akitani. He found himself smitten with her. Her quirk, the ability to attract small objects, certainly proved powerful. From the moment he first saw her at the local coffee shop, she drew his eyes and heart to her. He'd chickened out that first day, and so became a regular, eventually getting his chance on a busy day when they shared a table. After introductions and some small talk, he drained his coffee cup dry and with shaking hands, asked for her number. She turned him down. The dedication he showed toward heroics shifted to her, and he refused to turn away from this dream. He brought her flowers the next day, but she didn't come to the coffee shop. So, he brought flowers every day for a week, not realizing that she spent the week vacationing. The day she returned, he presented the day's fresh bouquet, 12 birds of paradise. Her obnoxious blonde friend laughed at her stalker, but one of the baristas spoke up in his defense. He's brought flowers every day for a week just hoping to see you. If you don't want him, sister, I'll take him. Inko blushed, thanked him, and handed him a napkin with her phone number written on it. So began a courtship, with dates, movies, concerts, candlelit dinners, walks in the park. While his grades remained the highest in his year, his work in heroics began to suffer. Inko occupied too much of his mind, and the constant fighting just seemed silly. So, after a poor showing at the sports festival, he found himself called to his teacher's office. While he made a decent showing in both the maze and capture the flag, he'd lost to a support course student in the first round. Sit down, Mr. Midoriya, Nizu said, and after a moment he complied. Nizu studied his face for a few moments. Then sighed. Would you mind explaining what happened to you in the final round of the sports festival? Hisashi blushed. I'm sorry if I disappointed you, sir. That kid, he dug through concrete, where my flames couldn't even reach him. Why didn't he make it into the hero course? He paused, looking down. No, it's not his fault. It's mine. My focus slipped. Look up, Nizu said, and Hisashi raised his face, still having to look down slightly to meet his teacher's eyes, even with them both sitting down. After a few moments, Nizu mumbled something too low for him to hear. I'm sorry, sir. Rubbing the bridge of his snout, Nizu said, what's her name? Or his name? Hisashi blushed again. Her. Inko, sir. Inko Akitani. How'd you know? Nizu chuckled. You're not the first young human I've seen so smitten that your every thought is focused on them. You humans and your complicated mating rituals. Sadly, that lack of focus will result in your death in the field. You must get past this if you want to be a hero. Hisashi frowned. I. I can't do that, sir. Nizu nodded. I see. Does she wish to be a hero as well? Hisashi shook his head. No, sir. She's going to Musudafo High. She plans to go into public relations. Well, I find this unfortunate. Your potential is quite exceptional, and if she wanted a career in heroics, you could partner together. Like that Izumi boy and his girlfriend. Look, we'll work through this, but you need to learn to put those thoughts aside during heroics. Or you could give my spot to that kid who beat me. Higuri, right? He beat me fair and square, and he's got a strong quirk. He'll make a great hero. You wish to leave UA? Nizu frowned. No, sir, but I would like to transfer to the support course. I still love hero analysis, and I'm good at it, but conflict, it just isn't for me. Not anymore. I must admit, I am relieved to hear that. You have an incredible mind, Mr. Midoriya, and I would hate to lose the opportunity to cultivate that. I will see to it that the transfer is approved without prejudice. I'll speak to the principal personally. Hisashi stood and bowed. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. A few days later, his transfer completed, Hisashi found himself cornered by Majima Higuri after classes. What's the deal, Midoriya? You sacrificed your spot in the hero course. Mr. Nizu told me you dropped out and recommended me. One off day during the sports festival shouldn't discourage you. I feel terrible. Let's talk to Nizu and get you back in. Hisashi shook his head and smiled. Thanks, Higuri, you're a good guy, but I want this. The hero life just isn't for me. I want to do analysis and marry my girlfriend. Maybe a kid or two running around the house. So, seriously, no hard feelings. Friends, he asked with a bow. Hell yeah. Majima smiled. I know a lot of people in construction. When you and the soon-to-be Mrs. decide to build a house, let me know. I'll handle the foundation and even the white picket fence. Although he'd done well in the heroics course, Hisashi excelled in the support course, graduating at the top of his class. He attended college, earning a degree in advanced quirk studies. While he never became a famous hero, heroes knew him well, many of them calling him the Dragon Wizard for his sought-after and in-depth analysis. Thanks to this, he could live a comfortable life and finally propose to Inko. At the age of 24, the two married, moving into a small apartment. The house with the white picket fence could wait a few years. 3 years later, Inko woke up feeling ill one morning. Hisashi felt sympathetic, but otherwise didn't give it much thought. Until she woke up sick the next morning, and the next. After a week, a trip to the doctor confirmed her pregnancy, and 9 short and long months later, Izuku Midoriya made their family fuller and richer than before. Hisashi thought his heart full already with love for Inko, but the first time he held his son, he knew that he would do anything for his boy. Izuku grew so fast. The little toddler loved spending time with his parents, often following Inko around the apartment or sitting on Hisashi's knee as he performed hero analysis. They joked with their friends that Izuku's first word had been amide, but Ma and Pa beat it by a few days. At the age of 3, the Izuku showed the Midoriya chatterbox tendency, constantly talking about cool heroes and carrying around a hero analysis notebook like his father, even if Izuku only doodled in crayon. He smiled as the door opened, revealing his wife and son, dressed in his birthday All Might onesie. Dad, Dad, Dad. We saw All Might. Hisashi spun around, his eyebrows shooting up. Really? That's amazing. I'm so jealous. Inko winked. Of course, Hisashi knew about All Might's visit to Musudafu for the annual hero rankings held this year at UA, and Majima let him know when and where to go so that Izuku might catch a glimpse of his favorite hero. Having met the pro hero before, Hisashi allowed Inko be the hero today so he could get the apartment ready for Izuku's birthday, hanging All Might streamers and balloons. Izuku's eyes widened even more, seeing the apartment decked out in All Might themed birthday items. Holy whoa! This is so cool! Happy birthday, Zuku, Hisashi said with a grin. Definitely holy whoa.
Okay, I just need to get something ready. Uh, okay, basically gonna make making ramen then. Well, or dinner.
After a hot July day, Shota Izawa sighed, but as the sun set, the temperature dropped quite a bit, and with clear skies and a pleasant ocean breeze, Musudafu cooled rapidly into the embrace of a comfortable summer evening. Unlike the evening, Shota Izawa couldn't find comfort wearing this suit. He could barely stand this entire situation. A senior at UA High, Shota wore a black suit with a dark red tie, his black hair tied back into a small ponytail and his ever-present stubble shaved off for once. His friend, Hisashi Yamada, sat on the couch in his living room, laughing at him as he fretted with his tie. "Come on, Shota. You look fine." Hisashi looked over his own navy blue suit. "We're still students. We're only really going to be there to pad out the crowd, make it look more impressive on the news, and get a bit of extra credit from old man, bear, mongoose. Nizu." He rolled his eyes, grabbed Shota's tie, and tied it around his own neck. He passed it back with a smirk. Shota sighed, putting the tie on. Every time he tied one, it ended up more bow than tie. "Why do we even have to go to this? The media is a waste of time. Hell, Nemuri is the only one of us who's a pro hero, and no way she breaks the top 50 fresh out of school. I know you're going spotlight, but we haven't graduated yet." Hisashi looked away, not meeting Shota's eyes. "Suspicious. Hisashi." Hisashi said something under his breath, too quiet for Shota to hear. At Shota's growl, Hisashi looked up. "Promise not to freak out." Shota started reaching for his tie. "Not a chance in hell. I'm not going, the old bastard can fail me if he wants. I can still get my license without graduating." Hisashi rushed forward, grabbing his friend's.
Okay, I have to make dinner for us because my head so can't reach that far. Okay, with this, and my head. God. Okay, got it. Banana?
Hands to keep him from removing his tie. Don't. Nizu wanted us to come because were Abaro's friends. They're doing a special presentation to honor him. Bullshit. His jaw ached from wanting to grind his teeth, but he forced himself to unclench. An honor, ha. Trotting out the story of the poor student who died makes for good TV. Bunch of blood-sucking parasites, that's all they are, Nizu worst of all. Hisashi looked down. His mom's coming. What? Shota asked. Abaro's mom's coming tonight. They're going to recognize him as a hero, so she'll be able to draw a hero pension. Look, times are hard, and his family never had a lot. You know that. You know what that's like better than anyone. He waved his hands around at the dump Shota called home. It will help her, and I honestly don't think he'd mind if they made a dancing puppet out of his hero costume if it would help her. Hisashi looked away again. She called me. Asked if she could meet you. She came a long way. Shota looked around. He understood tough times. Shota faked a good signature, not to mention documents, so this crappy apartment technically belonged to his parents. Neither the landlady nor Yue realized they'd passed away in a car wreck over 3 years ago. A kid can earn money, especially if they can erase quirks and don't mind bending the law a little. The underground casino in town loved him and brought him in one night a week to ensure the fairness, or at least quirk-free nature, of their high-stake poker game. Fortunately, the local Yakuza boss had a soft spot for kids, that one night never interfered with his schoolwork and paid the bills and tuition. Heroes starting out didn't earn a lot, but it would help a family on the edge of poverty. The funeral expenses alone probably put the Shirakumo family in danger of losing their home. Being posthumously declared a hero would give them a show. Hisashi hugged his dour friend, who stood there awkwardly and accepted the embrace with his arms hanging limp at his side. None of what happened was your fault. She knows that. You really are a good guy. The hell I am. Let's get this damn thing over with before I kick Nizu's ass, SPCA be damned. Hisashi led the way out the door, and Shota followed, locking the doorknob and 2 dead bolts. Not that the small apartment held anything worth stealing, but the one time he forgot to lock the door, someone trashed the place on general principle. Bunch of savages in this town. Floodlights illuminated the gleaming buildings of UA, the gates open to the public for once. Tonight, UA hosted Japan's annual televised Pro Hero Rankings, announcing to the entire nation the new top 10 lineup. The Hero Public Safety Commission, commonly abbreviated as the HPSC, liked to throw a big bash in celebration. With UA's typical zealous security, only a fool of a villain would dare try and cause trouble, especially with the top hero school currently hosting almost all the top 50 pro heroes. While dressed in black tie and evening attire, they could still bring an incredible amount of power to bear. Furthermore, Shota noted, he could see Lady Nagant atop one of the roofs, along with a few other snipers. One of those being Snipe, a relative newcomer, but Snipe held undeniable skill with a gun. He'd been a third-year Shota's first year and already made a name for himself. As Hisashi and he made their way to the ballroom, he spotted Nemuri Kayama standing near the doors. Her hair tied up in a complicated bun, held by, well, he didn't know what women called them. To him, they looked like fancy chopsticks. Hell, maybe that's what they were. She wore a black, one-piece dress with a neckline that plunged to her navel and a slit in the side that rose almost as high. Seeing her 2 juniors, she smiled. My, you 2 boys look, she paused, almost respectable. Couldn't you find dates? Hisashi blustered. No one holds a candle to you, Nem. You've ruined me for all other women. She winked. Flatterer. Turning to Shota, what about you? He shrugged. Met. Hisashi's good enough. Are those things chopsticks? You're an idiot. They're called hair sticks. Try to hide your amazement. Why do I even try? She asked. She looked like she was about to facepalm, then thought better of it and looked to the sky imploringly. Looking back down at Shota, she lowered her voice. Look, I know you don't care about the media, but you've got to be careful about saying stuff like that. This place is crawling with reporters. Nobody really cares about someone's preference these days, but it could end up making you a human interest piece, which would not be good for someone hoping to be an underground hero. Besides, it will only encourage /fiction on some of the hero boards. Shota blinked. What the hell is /fiction? Hisashi coughed, patting his friend on the back. I'll tell you when you're older. Once in the party proper, the three of them sank into the general background hum of excitement. Reporters ignored them, since at least 75 top pro heroes in attendance made better stories, and fortunately people like Crimson Riot, Endeavor, and All Might supply a big distraction. Plenty of lower-ranked heroes came over and chatted with the trio, but all the conversation amounted to forgettable polite background noise. Out of the corner of his eye, Shoto saw flashes of purple and yellow heading their way and suppressed a groan. Oh, God. Knock me out, Nem. She slapped his shoulder with a smirk. Flamboyantly dressed in a perfectly tailored purple suit, His Purple Highness moved to the trio quickly. Thankfully, the slender hero recovered fully from his recent injuries but also expressed a desire to leave the hero industry, so his agency closed slowly, fading into obscurity, giving sidekicks and office staff time to find new jobs. His Purple Highness also grieved the loss of Oboro. Nemuri Kayama, my shining star, and Shota Izawa, and I met a few weeks ago. We both responded to a nighttime burglary at a bank. Thanks to her, we avoided any property damage, a rarity when I get involved. Sometimes I find it hard to hold back. Now he turned to Shota. Young Izawa? A pleasure to meet you. All Might stuck out his hand, and Shota dreaded what he knew would happen. He found himself vaguely reminded of Sensoji, and this blonde buffoon wanted to exchange handshakes rather than bows. He found himself in this sort of situation before and knew that they always turned into bet I can crush your hand more than you can crush mine competitions. Steeling himself to suppress a wince, he took the pro's offered handshake. Whatever Shota expected, All Might only crushed his preconceptions. He could feel the tightly controlled power in All Might's hand, but the man's grip, while firm, proved surprisingly gentle. It made sense in a strange sort of way, though. All Might's legend rested on his incredible power, so his daily life must be like living in a world made of wet tissue paper. His slightest touch, if not carefully controlled, could tear apart a building. Hiding his shock, Shota replied, "It's nice to meet you too, All Might. I saw the video of your debut a few years ago, very inspiring. Oh, and this is our friend Hisashi Yamada, hero name present Mike." All Might quickly shook hands with an honestly fanboying Hisashi. "This is a delightful bonus. I suspect you're going to be a daylight hero, young Yamada." To Hisashi's enthusiastic and annoying starstruck nods, All Might handed the DJ a business card.
Oh, I knew. I just didn't want that one. I wanted different. I saw that, Julian. I just didn't know. I thought we had something different today. Not the same thing as yesterday.
Once you've graduated, come by my tower. We're always looking to expand with new heroes. You got it? Mike enthused. I'll be there with bells on. And on that note, he turned to Nemuri and Shota. I've heard much about the two of you from His Purple Highness. Getting to meet the two of you was actually one of the reasons I came tonight. Nemuri and Shota both blinked at that, but she recovered first. You wanted to meet us? I'm flattered, of course, but curious why. Well, to be honest, I have a great deal of respect for underground heroes, and the two of you are fine examples. Young Kayama, you could have easily handled the bank situation without me, and while you have a higher profile than most underground heroes, I do know that the support structures in place for daylight heroes are not as robust for underground heroes. I want to change that. I will admit, I am here to poach the two of you, with your mentor's blessing. Hold on, Shota held up his hand. Someone like me can't afford to get recognition like that. If my quirk becomes widely known, villains will start carrying guns as a backup plan. And I'm not the sidekick type. Oh, no, All Might said, I don't mean media recognition, unless you want it, or being a sidekick. I've always preferred the term fellow heroes. I mean a real support structure. I've talked quite a bit with my friend, Sir Nightai, about this. We want to create a special underground hero division of Might Incorporated that will provide medical care, pensions, and vacation days to underground heroes, while still preserving the freedom that being an underground hero provides. Nemuri blinked. Won't that just be a drain on your resources? All Might laughed. Not at all. We've already got the infrastructure in place to support twice the heroes currently signed on with the agency. What's important is to do the best we can for the most people we can. Knowing what Sir Nightai went through as an underground hero before we met, I think it is shameful that the HPSC treats underground heroes as almost second-class citizens. Let's be honest, young Aizawa here will be lucky to make a lower middle-class wage in his first few years after graduation, while I, and here he actually frigging winked at Shota, am dreadfully overpaid, not even counting all the merchandising. Wouldn't you agree? Shota gave All Might a smile that, for the first time tonight, wasn't forced. I would if it wouldn't get me an elbow in the side from one of my friends. As if proving their point, both Nemuri and Hisashi elbowed him to All Might's boisterous laughter. Handing business cards to the other two of the trio, All Might smiled. Give it a thought, young Kayama and young Aizawa, for after you graduate. Well, my young friends, I'm afraid I must go. They'll be announcing the ratings soon. Shota nodded. Think you've gone up any? He didn't really care, beyond mild curiosity. All Might smiled. As much as I hate to ruin the surprise, I'm rising to the number 1 spot. They informed me in advance since I'm expected to give a speech. The trio of friends met with Aburo's mom, a meeting that began with sad smiles but slowly included quiet laughter as they shared with her some of the stories of her son's antics while a student. She solemnly presented Shota with an intricate, hand-carved wooden box made by Aburo's grandfather specifically for Shota, holding Aburo's yellow goggles. She also graced him with his second hug of the night, but he awkwardly returned this one. Shota Aizawa held a vast array of talents, but Master of Interpersonal Interaction appeared nowhere on the list. Shota gripped the box gently, instantly the most precious item he owned. He hoped their talk brought her some closure, but it only brought him more guilt. The whole encounter felt like walking through a dense fog, and without the soft touches to his shoulder from Nemuri and Hisashi, he would have been lost in that black mist. He leaned over to Nemuri. Is it bad that I don't even remember what his mom said, what any of us said? She hugged him, whispering, "Oh, Shota, of course not. You did great. If anyone understands how much you miss him, it's her." He wished she would activate her power so he'd have an excuse to curl on the floor and sleep, but despite breathing deep during a third hug, he could only smell her perfume. He stood there between his two friends, feeling the comfort of their closeness and protection as the top 10 hero announcement echoed through the hall. Finally, All Might took to the stage to ringing applause as Japan's new number 1 hero, and he stepped proudly to the podium, bearing a huge smile. I am here, he declared with a grin, to. Whatever All Might planned to say next cut off with the sound of an enormous explosion echoing through the ballroom. Turning toward the window, Shota saw a ball of flame rising above Musudafu. Backlit by the fireball, he spotted dark figures leaping through the campus trees, the first of which shattered a window, landing in the ballroom. Sorry/not sorry to end.
Oh, son of a bitch. This is legitimately a lot more than I thought. Right, so I might just you would do that as well, leave a cliffhanger.
Chapter 2, Unexpected.
Holy son of a bitch. You know what? I can say this for tomorrow, right? Maybe later today, probably, for God's sake, you know? Okay, he's like, favorite. Share, subscribe for new, and goodbye. Hopefully this is all caught. Wait, I gotta check that actually.
Chapter 2, Unexpected Aid. Previously on My Hero Academia, Ultra.
Yep, I guess in it now. Bye.